Hi class, this is Stephen Connor, my father.
Hi class.
Yes, I am conducting an interview with him because he was at the Zen Center in the late 60s and in San Francisco and studied under Suzuki-roshi.
Well, actually, Buddhism wasn't really very mainstream back in the time in the 60s when I was involved. It was pretty kind of a bit of a fringe. I was always interested in Eastern religion, so but those of us who were a little bit more broad-minded, I guess, embraced a lot of different spiritual traditions, and Buddhism seemed to be pretty comfortable for me. Actually, I was a conscientious objector in the Vietnam War, and I had to find a placement for 2 years for alternative service, and went to Zen Center as a possible place that I could do my alternative service. Zen Buddhism was something that always attracted me because it seemed to be less kind of dogmatic and had fewer of the religious trappings, though I think actually at Zen Center it was certainly that way. There was a lot of ritual as well as practice. What I remember, what is particularly strong in my memory about him was when we would be sitting for kinhin, where we would be in a session for a day or two, meditating all day, and sometimes we would be doing walking Zen, other times we would be sitting and meditating, and he would go through the hall and would carry his wooden stick, and if when he came through the hall very, very slowly, as he was passing you, if you bowed, he would take the stick and would whack you on the shoulders a couple of times. And the thing that impressed me about the experience of that memory of him was that he was able to do that in a way that you could almost feel that there was almost as if there was really no one there, that there was nothing behind the stick in terms of any ambition or it was a kind of an emptiness in terms of how he would do that. In Japan, the monks their lives were devoted to the practice. The lay people were kind of more into the rituals. In the U.S., there was this sort of profound movement of people who were interested in Eastern spiritual traditions and in practice, and were really trying to seek enlightenment in their own way. So we were kind of in between, in that we had, I think, an understanding of the spiritual practice beyond what most lay people did. But most people in those days were not, except for a few exceptions, weren't really interested in devoting their entire life to that practice. I think we were all looking at being in places like Zen Center as a way of improving our spiritual development. In my practice, what I ended up moving more into more of a kind of karma yoga. And so for me, my practice led me to hospice, which was a chance to practice my spirituality and my work together. I remember one incident especially, or one episode, when we were preparing dinner, and I could just remember we were sitting there tearing up lettuce by hand, and we would get iceberg lettuce and we would tear it, and we just enjoyed the sound of the ripping of the lettuce. It was just kind of a head-clearing kind of sound. It was enjoyable. Food there was good, all vegetarian, healthy food. Mainly it was, there wasn't a lot of it was sort of like the notion of chop wood and carry water. I mean, you just spent your day actually cleaning and cooking and sometimes doing service as well as meditation. I guess we all came to find out later that he had, character disorder. He was perhaps somewhat sociopathic and was using his position